Perhaps more a video for Canadians than American this times, because these are products both in Canada. Floor jacks, all of them are 2 tons. We really have a small restrained choice here in Canada, and many brands are not that good. This is my old one, 2 tons. It's a Michelin brand, but I guess it's just rebranded, that you may recognize in other brands. I did use this for about 10 years on my car. I have a sedan car, so all these are for sedan cars, not for SUVs or trucks. They don't lift high enough. What happens is basically this started to leak here. Maybe not, doesn't look much now, but it wouldn't lift high enough at some point. And I think my problem is with this that I started to lift the whole side of the car at once. Maybe I'll talk about it later in the video. Also, this guy had a small pinhole there for burping. So I went to the store and I was saying, just wondering, saying to myself, which one should I get? This is a Canadian brand from Canadian Tire Maximum, which is thought to be the higher end, the higher quality. It's a 2 ton, and you notice the difference in size. It's really huge. So I bought this guy. By the way, this sells regular price 300 plus tax. Was a discount day or something like this. They often do it. This guy, Husky brand from Home Depot. This one sells for about 50 bucks, perhaps in sale 30 bucks. This one was about 80 or something back in the days. So actually why I did pick this guy, because the box was very, very light. And I thought to myself, wow, a very light jack that works. So that's amazing. This thing is absolutely a joke. Let's just look at the front of it. First of all, it's not aligned. So the floor is flat, it's not the floor here. And this guy, it's misaligned from the start. It's simply this well here doesn't touch the ground no matter what, this one. But also look at the distances here. It's completely misaligned from the start. And I have to say that the welds didn't look that bad. Of course, the hardware is going to be the cheapest you can get. I didn't even put it to use. But first, the cup here is very small. This cup, it's already small. I would say it's about perhaps 2.5 or maybe 3 inches. This one is not even that. But look what it does here. At the bottom, we have the kind of, there is a rod, a securing rod. And look at this. I mean, this is a joke. This cannot be true. This is absolutely just... Maybe you can do it to replace a flat tire. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit better than a spare jack, you know, those that come in the trunk of the car. But I'm not going to use this on my car for regular work. At no point. I don't know how much the seal will stay there, but it's just not safe enough. So that's one thing. Look at this guy. This is huge. I mean, this is not a cup. It's magnetic fixed, I think, but it's a strong magnet. Has a rubberized face. So basically, this is mostly to say that this Husky stuff, which obviously it's just a rebranded piece of hardware made in China. By the way, they say, if you can look, it says made in China. If you have any questions, that's funny. I was looking on Amazon too, Amazon.com, so the US Amazon, and there are many brands that have exactly the same cut, the same shape as this one, exactly similar, the same tiny wheels and stuff, selling for about, I think it's mostly 40 US dollars or 15, but I think it's close to 40 bucks. They just don't buy those stuffs. They are really, there's just not a working tool. It's really maybe occasionally once a year or something like this for a small tire change. Not much more than that. This one, it's a serious tool. And I have to say that I was hesitating. Basically, I bought this guy first because I know the quality is there. And then I bought this one. Why? Because this is huge. This is big. And myself, where I at the place where I work on my car, I just don't have enough space around the car to carry this guy around. I'm not sure if I can fit it under the car and then still handle it, jack it normally if I still have enough space. So I still need to check this out, but obviously it's a much better tool. It's 2 tons, so it looks big. I don't know if I have 2 tons writing on it somewhere. Yes, I do, but it's really just 2 tons. It's the kind of saying aluminium one, but to be honest, it weighs about, I think it weighs at least 30 kilos, so a lot, 60, 70 pounds. This one is really, really light. Look at it how I grab it. It's really light. I think it's mostly perhaps not even 15 kilos, 15. So perhaps 30 pounds. This one is a bit more difficult to carry. So anyway, anyhow, I went to buy this guy as well. Of course, this one lifts much higher. That one, it's about 13 inches, lift 14 inches. This one is going to be maybe 18, so it will work also for if you have a small SUV. I'm not sure for larger trucks if it's lifting up enough. But I found already a small problem with it. It is not going to be a mechanical problem, but it's really a design problem. And I just wanted to mention this in the video because if you look at the shape, by the way, it's so huge my camera doesn't get it fully in the image. If you look at the shape, this is clearly a copy from other brands. So you'll find other brands are exactly the same looking design. And you notice this handle, I'm really counting on it because I cannot leave my jacks on the floor. I really need to grab them to put them on the side. So I need to carry them. And this one, it's a big boy. I cannot just carry them on the floor, push them on the floor. The handle, look at the position of the handle and look at the design here. The heavy part of this floor jack, it's behind this rear half of it. This is where the whole weight sits, and the handle, it's really towards the front. Very, very poor choice. And like I said, most of them have the handle at the same place. When I try to lift it, look what's happening. Lift it like this, not that bad. But if I try to take it with my hand, it's simply sliding down. That's because the center of mass on this big boy, it's about here. And your center of the handle is about here. So basically, if a engineer is looking at this video, please guys, I mean, engineering, it's basic, it's not big stuff. Really displace, move this handle back at this position. It's not a structural problem, I don't think so. So really needs to stay there, both sides the handle. Anyhow, this is it. I think I'm really keeping this one. And also I wanted to mention something that this, at least the guy who manufactured this, they kind of put some grease on these rolling cylinders. And there's also grease behind it somewhere. It's not very uniformly applied, so I will have to apply it a little bit better. I did notice that's even funny. You could see maybe with a flashlight there is grease for this well, but there is none for this well. So perhaps the assembly line was a little bit tired, but I didn't see grease on pictures from other similar models on internet. So I think it's a good idea to have a little bit of bearing grease, you know, at the friction points, like this point and this point. So if you own something similar, just maybe put some grease on it. It will help a little bit in the long term. I'm keeping this guy. This guy goes back to the store, and I hope they throw it away. This one was a really really sturdy jack for me. It's not exactly the most stable one, and the compass, like I said, is small. But let me just take maybe 1 minute to talk a little bit about this guy here in the end, because like I said, I did use this guy for about 10 years, and as far as I remember, I always used it to lift one well off the ground on a sedan car. So one well, that would be maybe maybe about 400 kilos, 400 kilos. And only during the 2 past years, or last year or so, I started lifting the half of the car entirely. So I'm positioning it close to the driver's door somewhere under the frame. I'm lifting, and I will lift both side wheels at once. It will do it, but this is why I'm talking about this thing. I'm just wondering if that's not a little bit too much for these types of chucks. So basically it worked very fine lifting just one wheel for about 8 years or so. When I started lifting 2 wheels at once, it started to leak. Is it because it was already old? I'm not so sure. There is a possibility, of course, but I'm really wondering at this point if these chucks are actually, they are rated for 2 tons, right? We all agree with this. Personally, I did study mechanical engineering, and I know that these ratings don't actually say the whole story. A jack like this, which is rated 2 tons, I'm just going to say something like a theory. I'm just thinking maybe it's this way. They mark it 2 tons. That's because indeed they can lift 2 tons with these guys. There's no problem with it. But the question is, how many times are you going to lift 2 tons with it? Are you going to lift it maybe 3, 4, 5 times, and then it's going to start leaking? Possible. I'm just saying, if you have a different opinion, just comment in the section below, comments. So I'm starting to think at least the least expensive ones, maybe you can lift the side of the car 5-10 times, and then it's going to start leaking. And if you just keep lifting one corner of the car, one wheel, is going to keep going for years and years. So I would say, if I would buy again this kind of jack, and perhaps even that one, a 2-ton one, I'm not going to keep lifting the side of the car all at once, or even the front or the rear of the car. I'm going just to keep them for one wheel lifting at once, and in my guess, that's going to be the way these guys are meant to be operated. So 2 tons, yes, but I'm guessing you are going to lift 2 tons 5 times and it's going to start to leak. You are going to lift 1 ton 10-15 times and it's going to start to leak. And you are going to lift 500 kilos and it's never going to start to leak. Or, I mean, for years and years to go. Just a guess, just correct me if you think I'm wrong. So maybe this gives you a tip about using these guys. All right, thanks for watching. Throw this garbage away if you already got one or thinking about getting one. And well, this is it. And by the way, I have to say, I'm long in my videos sometimes. I did travel to United States. I'm not far away from the border. I'm in Montreal, and I went to, I guess it's Plattsburgh. And you guys have this really nice hardware store, Harbor Freight, and I got some few tools from it. And I know you have a line of Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Pro floor jacks, which are really, really appreciated. I can see the reviews on internet. And I just wish I could go there and buy maybe a Pittsburgh one, maybe a 3-ton or 2-ton one. I know those are American made and really, really nicely made. And it's really unfortunate we don't have this in Canada. And it's not so far away, but sometimes just cannot go there and buy them. All right, thanks for watching, guys.